The ideas that gave birth to our nation are the ideas that our nation is resistant to right now, and we should talk about that all the time.
In a world where narratives are shaped by corporations and gatekeepers, independent voices matter more than ever. Badlands Media brings together citizen journalists, researchers, and independent thinkers.
The truth is triggering.
Question the narrative. Explore the facts.
It's authenticity, courage, resilience.
Search for the truth others won't.
It's not about being first or being right.
The information war is changing.
It's about being authentic.
Embrace the friction.
Embrace the friction.
Shut the f*** up.
Authentically antagonizing. Join the movement.
I'm going to say how I feel.
Follow Badlands Media.
This is about the future.
The Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
All right, good morning, Badlandia. Welcome to Badlands Daily.
It really feels like the cat with the laser pointer. It's like you led the cat up to the top of the building and now you're leading it over the edge.
President Trump is rebalancing trade around the world and making things more fair for the American people.
I think that anytime the deep state can like over-capitalize in whatever situation they have, they're going to.
But the rest of it is a very well-organized and well-funded color revolution operation of the type they run all over the world again and again and again to destabilize entire society.
Echoes carried on the wind. We stepped into a moment where a nation would begin. Powder smoke and rising banners, voices ringing through the flame. We rode the currents of tomorrow, found the dawn of freedom's flame. Raise the flame of revolution, let the old world hear us roar. Freedom rise on every heartbeat, marching louder than before. From the Delaware to glory, soft disclosure.
All right, good morning, Badlandia. Welcome to Badlands Daily.
Love that song. The drummer makes it.
It's totally the guitarist. We have this debate every time. It's totally the guitar. I think we can all agree it's not the lead vocalist. The backup vocals are pretty fire. But
Yeah. Do you notice how a lot of the times when your backup vocals are singing, your mouth's not moving?
yes, I did notice that. I also noticed how when I walk away from the
Almost like you're Milli
microphone
Vanilli.
saying "We rockin' Deadwood tonight." Ooh, that's an interesting phone call to be getting as the show's going live.
Second time that's happened to you and I in the past.
No, this is just one of my New Hampshire friends. I'm sorry, dude. I'm live. I can't. But it's probably I haven't heard from him in a long time, so it's probably good news. But hey, guys, welcome to Badlands Daily as we go off on all these crazy tangents and everything else.
What we do.
I know. I get distracted. Ash distracts me. She goes off and goes down these, and I have to just cold right back into the actual show. And it's like, okay, now that she's done, let's get back to.
Oh, that's funny. It's funny that you're pretending like that's some sort of problem or distraction.
I mean, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Oh, Chris Jackson, don't bring that up again. Oh, don't bring that up again.
Oh, yeah. People were mad at you about that.
Yeah, you're kind of laggy a little bit.
I know it's because I'm trying to grab that.
Oh,
okay.
Well, I want to just cover something real quick because yesterday I was a complete jackass and forgot to read the rants. So I do want to read the rants because we are incredibly appreciative of that. And I know Ash is not going to have much input because, you know, she wasn't on the show yesterday. But Bum of Three Boys, Ghosts Bring Your Goblins to a Pool Party in Mechanicsville, July 25th at noon. RSVP info, VA fans, RSVP at pm.me. Love you guys. And I know Ghost saw these, so he did see that. Okay, so there you go. Not that I'm throwing Ghost under the bus, but I don't know, you know, I don't know. Sailbish, Ghost, when you get back from the pool party, come to our huge multi-state meetup in Maryland on August 29th. One of your friends might be there, and eggnog can be arranged for winky emoji. swgirlmd at Yahoo. All right. And Smay60, what Ghost is saying, Buddy got letter from police department the other day saying his cat is not current on vax, etc. They threatened to put it to sleep. Government control is getting worse.
Yeah, I'll say.
That's terrible. I would literally fight the government if they tried to put one of my dogs down.
Yeah. Animal lives matter, and the government should just piss off, honestly, on like most of the fronts.
Yeah.
Clinging to their illegitimate power.
Yeah, I would fight over that. Okay, let's get started with the show. Before we do that, Ash, you want to tell our fine audience about our good friends over at Benson Honey Farms?
Yes, but I'm about to sneeze at one point, so we might have to pause in the middle. Welcome to Benson Honey Farms, where every jar is pure gold. Benson Honey is excited to be back on Badlands Media with their honey harvest straight from their Nebraska farm. While they've been busy working to improve state politics from the ground up, they never forgot the importance of sharing the best honey around. Did you know honey isn't just a sweet treat? It's nature's medicine, perfect for alleviating allergies, soothing upset stomachs, or as a delicious natural sweetener for baking. Benson honey is never heated, ensuring you receive it in its pure, raw form, full of natural goodness. At Benson Honey Farms, quality and purity is top priority, and they're committed to providing the finest honey from hive to home. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/honey and use promo code Badlands for 20% off your purchase. Benson Honey Farm, savor the authentic taste of Nebraska and support this America First business. One more time, it's badlandsmedia.tv/honey, and you can follow them on Facebook at Benson Honey Farms and on TikTok at MOE Benson Honey, please. And if you want to learn more about the incredible Benson Honey family, we got to hang out with those guys in Deadwood. It was awesome. America First Stories. Rumble.com/badlandsmedia. Go to playlist, go to America First Stories. They're episode number 1.
All right. Yeah, we love the Bensons. They're incredible people. And guess what? You know what's really cool about today's sponsors, Ash? They go hand in hand, because our next sponsor, guys, this episode is brought to you by Cacao Bliss from Earth Echo, ceremonial grade cacao drink with 7 superfoods that lower appetite, boost focus, and calm anxiety. What if the healthiest thing that you drink every morning tastes exactly like hot chocolate? Forget green smoothies and protein shakes. When prepared the right way without fillers and processed junk, cacao is tremendously beneficial for your health. Researchers studied a tribe that drinks 5 cups of cacao a day and found that they have heart problems 9 times less than Americans. Today's sponsored figured out how to bring that same drink to the United States. The chocolate most of us grew up eating has been heavily processed, heated, and chemically treated until almost everything beneficial is gone. Studies show modern processing destroys up to 60% of cacao's active compounds, but raw ceremonial grade cacao preserves those powerful nutrients called flavanols. That means that 63 times more antioxidants than broccoli, plus high amounts of theobromine, which gives you up to 6 times longer lasting energy than caffeine with no jitters. Cacao Bliss from Earth Echo starts with 100% ceremonial grade cacao and combines it with 7 organic superfoods: turmeric, cinnamon, MCT oil, monk fruit, and more. 1 scoop in hot water tastes like rich, creamy hot chocolate. Learn more and get your special discounts and free shipping today at trycacaobliss.com/badlands. Again, that's trycacaobliss.com/badlands. And I have been, we got to extend that there. I have been full bore on the Cacao Bliss
it's good
since
stuff.
Last week, and I am loving it. I'm loving it. Also, it recommends that you mix it with honey. So use honey as a sweetener. So you take the Cacao Bliss, the Benson honey, you put them together, and it's amazing.
It's almost like the person that builds our ad run sheets is a genius. Who did that on purpose?
I mean, like she is a genius. So that is very true. All right, guys, if you have not done so yet, smash that thumbs up. And let's go ahead and jump into the show. I want to start with this. Whoop, there it is. This message from President Trump. A lot of rumors going on out there, and he's going to put them to bed right here, kind of.
Anticipating your big announcement on Thursday night regarding election machines and integrity. Can you give us sort of a sneak peek about what to expect and tell the
Well,
audience?
I'd rather
America-
save it. It will concern that subject. We'll have a couple of other things to
Why
say
should people
also.
watch them?
But I'd rather save it. But it's really big news.
Really big.
Really, really big news.
Really big.
And our country has to shape up. But that's what we're going to be talking about Thursday is it doesn't get bigger. Because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things too, but it's going to be a very big announcement. Yeah.
So
Doesn't get bigger, Brian. It's big news. It's really, really big news, and it doesn't get bigger.
and it's in the middle of the ongoing, never-ending roller coaster of on again, off again war with Iran. So it's even bigger than anything that would come of that. Now,
Well, I'll tell you what, if I have to choose between caring about American elections or caring about a fake ass war in the wretched desert, I'm choosing elections all day long.
100%. And I can be a Sith and deal in absolutes with that. 100% on that.
Agreed.
Now, the rumors, I mean, they're flying all over the place. And, you had John Solomon come out yesterday and quash some of those rumors, not directly, but broadly, just
Did
generally.
he quash them?
Yeah, he said some of the things I'm seeing are not true. And that's the extent of quashing it. That's why I said broadly. He didn't point to anything specific. I did find it very interesting. I did find this very interesting. President Trump putting this out on Truth Social. That may be relevant. This may
Chinese election American election interference with Chinese characteristics.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just point that out there. And if we go back, I think he actually put out a couple other video pictures of him and President Xi. There's that one there. Now this is what, like 2 months ago that this happened?
No, they're besties though.
They are besties. They are definitely besties. And
You doing wish lists though? You have like your wish list of what president's going to talk about?
It's not fair for me to do a wish list.
Okay, well, I have a wish list, and I haven't heard anybody talk about the thing that's at the top of my wish list. Can I play my video? It's a minute and like 20 seconds.
Of course.
Government and industry representatives from the election security community issued a joint statement reflecting a consensus perspective that the 2020 election was the most secure in U.S. history.
We'll see how it all works out. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So we'll see.
Krebs, the former head of CISA. Yeah. This is a man who weaponized his position, further instructs your Department of Justice, other aspects of your government, to investigate some of the malign acts that he participated in while he was still head of CISA.
This guy Krebs was saying, the election was great. It was great. Well, this has been proven honor. We're going to find out whether or not he was right. He's the fraud. He's a disgrace. So we'll find out whether or not it was a safe election. And if it wasn't, he's got a big price to pay.
While elections are sometimes messy, this was a secure election.
We have not gotten an output of that, as far as I know. Are you aware of there being an output to that Krebs investigation? Me either, Brian.
I'm with you.
Top of the wish list for me. The lawyer with his undergrad in environmental science, who is the top cyber expert in the nation, and put all inquiry to bed with that statement that he made.
I am going to put my wish list. I don't think we'll see it because it's an ongoing investigation, but I would love an update on Georgia. I'm not expecting that.
I was talking to someone last night who thought that this whole thing was going to be about Georgia.
I don't believe so.
Cool.
I don't believe so. The only thing I'm going to say is, guys, tune in to Badlands at 9 p.m. tomorrow night when Ash and I cover it, because there is going to be there's going to be a lot of things that he's going to talk about that the other spheres don't know nearly as much as Ash and I do on. And I'll just say that. Yeah. There's going to be, if you want genuine, honest assessments of what is said with, using election investigations and everything else. If you want to get the nuance behind everything, tune in tomorrow night here at 9 p.m. Other people will be out there and they'll just, I don't know. I don't even know like how bad it's going to be.
Save America Act. This is good.
Yeah.
Pass the Save America Act. And then we're going to have, then all of our election problems are fixed. All we need is the Save America Act. And then we can totally trust elections.
It is going to be very much, to pass the Save America Act, I think.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And here's the thing about watching our coverage. We'll tell you what's new. We'll tell you what's been known for a long period of time. We'll tell you what's being repackaged into a new narrative, if anything. And I'm hoping that we have, you and me, have that kind of Joe Rogan UFC moment. Oh, with the stuff that's released. But that's hope. I know you don't think so. But don't take this away from me because I am allowed to hope.
I am going to, you know what? There's one thing, because this is a bigger platform than Why We Vote, right? Badlands Daily gets more views typically. So I am going to say one thing, and I want you guys to keep this in mind. And this is based on a post I saw on X. Only based on a post I saw on X. Venezuela got rid of Smartmatic in 2018.
Yeah, we talked about that last night.
I'm just going to leave that at that.
Yeah.
Venezuela got rid of Smartmatic in 2018. Oh, also, Smartmatic was taken over by globalists around 2015. And I'll just leave that at that. Now,
so
this...
just to summarize before we move off tomorrow night's speech, to summarize,
we're not moving off of it yet, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I just so I believe that we will get weaponization of government as one of the other stuff that he's talking about. Right? He's like, we're going to be talking about other stuff too, in addition to elections. I believe that's going to be one of those things will be weaponization of government. John really wants him to give a nod to the 2023 luncheon video. Same weaponized agencies that have been running illegal psychological warfare operations on the American people, much as if they've been trying to destabilize a foreign nation. That would be awesome. There are indications that is potential, if not in this speech, potentially coming with the Lincoln Project now being... Rick Wilson of the Lincoln Project apparently admitting that he's CIA and all of that kind of stuff coming out. Patrick Byrne, of course, has admitted that he's CIA. Marco Polo kind of did a shots fired at Patrick Byrne yesterday. I don't know if you saw that, but
I did not. Pull that up. I got to see that.
Okay. It's about the Hunter Biden, Patrick Byrne case, and Hunter Biden was awarded $1.7 million. And Marco Polo said, we take no sides because all sides are despicable scoundrels. In a dispute between Hunter Biden and Patrick Byrne. I thought that was interesting. But if we get the weaponization of government and the illegal psychological warfare operations, the reason I'm bringing this up is that I think there's a potential that a lot of people that people think are good guys are maybe going to come out as not so good guys.
Okay, so Jeff Clark put this out on X. This is a big one I've been holding for a while. Last week, let me zoom in here. It's hard for me to see. Last week, Rick Wilson of the Lincoln Project admitted that he was a member of the intelligence community. Now, do you understand what the Lincoln Project is? An attempt by the intelligence community resistors to undermine the Republican Party and destroy it from within. Wilson famously goes all the way back to working on both of John McCain's campaigns and even tied himself to the Confederacy at one point. You see that play too now, right? And check out this clip.
Well, look, Trump has hated NATO since 1987. And he hated NATO. He wrote a letter to the New York Times, or put an ad in the New York Times. Let me rephrase that. Put an ad in the New York Times in 1987, right after he had visited Moscow. Odd coincidence for those of us in the intelligence world back in the day. But okay. Well, look, Trump has...
Yeah. All right. And then here's the
for those of us back in the intelligence world.
Humorous and gratifying that even your victory in the Second World California court system is Pyrrhic. All of the corrupt actors are now lining up at the trough. We take no sides because all sides are despicable scoundrels, especially and including you and Eric early ex's firm. Have fun with collections. The sides in this case are Hunter Biden and Patrick Byrne. So, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear where we stand on that whole dispute. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
all
I
right,
mean,
let's
when you don't show up and then a couple days later you're like, "Oh, I'm CIA and I'm not going to talk about
CIA.
CIA. Can't talk about the past. Can't talk about my CIA days because I was just about to be asked questions about the stories that I've been telling for years and why they're now changing."
Where he explicitly said, "I am not CIA."
Yeah. Oh no, that was a core part of it. I'm just a good benevolent businessman, just
Yeah.
trying to do my part for America. And the secret Senate committee, they had me go do some things, but just as a businessman, I'm definitely not in the intelligence community. Oh, also, I am CIA. I am CIA.
You know, when we did when Ghost and I did Book of Trump last Monday, we did Atlantic City and Trump as an FBI informant. And you know, the signs that Trump was an FBI informant go well beyond, or well before, well, not well before, but before his Atlantic City endeavors, right? He had a lot of dealings with the mobs. He always seemed to escape prosecution when somebody in the mob around him was taken down. He always seemed to escape prosecution conveniently. Also, the mob gave him like hands off when he built Trump Plaza, and instead of using the Teamsters and the concrete, unions to build Trump Plaza, he was able to use ready mix concrete with Polish immigrants with the blessing of the mob. And and I kind of theorized with Ghost that when he built Trump Plaza, it was actually built as like a what would you call it? Not like a honeypot, but like a trap, right? Ready mix concrete, Polish immigrants. You're able to put things into the infrastructure, wiretaps, who knows? But one of the guys that was busted, I think his name was Cody. I can't remember his first name, John Cody, I think. And he was adjacent to the mob, and he had a honeypot. Like, there was a theory that Trump was giving out free apartments to mobsters in Trump Plaza. And this guy, Cody, he wasn't given an apartment in Trump Plaza, but this woman who was a debutante, very wealthy woman, had no finance, like no income whatsoever, other than very rich friends that gave her money. A honeypot, right? A honeypot. She had 3 floors directly below Trump's 3 floors, his residence in Trump Plaza. And that's where this guy Cody was going in and out of. And he got busted. And, again, there was this lawsuit afterwards where the woman sued Trump and Trump countersued, and they ended up settling for like $500,000. And, I theorized speculated with Ghost that was the payment for her being a honeypot against this Cody guy. And so anyways, long story short, there's a whole battle that you kind of see drawn in that between the CIA, which was running a lot of aspects of the mob, and then the FBI, which seemed to have been actively trying to take down the mob. Trump chose the side of the FBI in that battle. Not saying that, he openly knew that the CIA was running the mob and chose not to join that side. But now you have people like Rick Wilson and others coming out saying they're CIA. And has that battle continued between factions of the FBI and the CIA? And again, I know this is kind of like off topic, but I just thought that was really interesting with all these people coming out as CIA. Also, if you own a mega Fortune 500 corporation, you're probably in some form or fashion CIA adjacent, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, and I mean, there is undoubtedly intelligence war playing out in the shadows. I think that there's indicators of that, right? You don't see it's like you're watching the battlefield play out, but you're able to see it when there's indicators that come into the narrative and whatnot. And President Trump, like you had said, I'm not sure that he knew that the CIA was running the mob back then. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because his dad was pretty savvy, and his dad was in that world and brought him up in that world. And yeah, I mean, you and I read Art of the Deal, and there was some tension between him and his dad, and him going into Manhattan and going bigger and all of those things. And you have to wonder about that. But I'm so sick of the spy games. I'm so sick of people running illegal psychological warfare campaigns on the American people. And because Psy War makes, if you're paying attention, it makes you doubt reality. It makes you question the nature of reality and whether or not, you know, who's a good guy and who's a bad guy and who's operating out of, honor and integrity and who's operating out of self-motivation. And it's hard enough to figure out those things on, kind of the base reality layer that we all interact with. But then when you add different government agencies and departments fighting a battle with each other, that, our part in that battle is being hoodwinked or discombobulated by them all the time, just so they can keep us distracted and divided and do whatever the hell they want. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, and I want accountability for it, and I want justice for it. And we have to have that if we're going to move forward. Otherwise, we're just going to be moving forward with the understanding that we're going to be lied to all the time and deal with it, or check out of the realm. And I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. It's so obvious. People can see it everywhere. You can see that there is a shadow intelligence war happening around us on U.S. soil with the minds of the American people as the target of it. And there must be accountability for that and honesty about it.
I think we'll get at least a taste of that. I think we'll get at least
Hope
a
so.
taste of that. I think John's going to be right on that.
Hope so.
This story may become a little bit bigger as well. Senate Judiciary put this out yesterday. Jack Smith's investigative team secretly obtained text messages from 44 members of Congress amid the Trump probe. Again, this is kind of a continuation of the phone tap. They remember originally they came out, and this was just a couple months ago. Yeah. We actually got, the phone records, but all we knew was who they called and when they called. We didn't know the content of the call. Immediately, I was like, what about text messages? Did they get text messages? And when they got the text messages, did they know the contents of the text messages? Nobody calls anymore. I mean, some people call, but most people text nowadays. And that was my immediate question. Well, we've got an answer to it now. Investigators bypassed a required filter team review process, violating investigative protocols and potentially, there's that qualifying word right there, that, plausible deniability, potentially infringing on constitutional guardrails. The provided records indicate that Smith's investigative team circumvented its own filter review process, which was established to protect privileged materials from being swept up in a criminal prosecution, and directly accessed the content of texts sent by Republicans and Democrat senators and members of the House to the White House. And I hate this line so much, but it is what it is. Communications from members of Congress pertaining to their official legislative duties are protected from criminal prosecution under the Constitution's speech and debate clause. Hate that so much. And I loved when John Drake brought that up at Deadwood when we were on that America's Founding panel. I think it was the America Founding panel. So among the list, some notable names: Grassley, Ron Johnson, John Cornyn, Lindsey Graham, Josh Hawley, Mike Lee, Cory Booker, interestingly. Who else we got? David Perdue, Georgia. Very interesting one, especially with the Brian Kemp thing that we talked about a few months back. Rand Paul. Who else we got? Susan Collins, Tim Scott, Tom Cotton.
Karen Bass.
Kevin McCarthy. Karen Bass. She was in the House for a while.
35, number 35 on the list.
Way to go all the way down there and just...
No, the Congress people are really, really mad about this. And I just like to remind everybody that they're only authentically angry when it's about themselves.
Yep. Devin Nunes, Jim Jordan, Kevin McCarthy. Like, how did some of these happen? How did some of these happen? Was Devin Nunes even in the House when Jack Smith opened his probe? That's
wild. Because no, I don't think so.
Did Devin Nunes leave Congress? I mean, maybe
like 2021, I think, right? That was when he was done.
You know what? Let's just do something in real time right here. I'm just going to take this whole list and ask, when Jack Smith opened his investigation, how many of these people were not in Congress? Because Karen Bass wasn't, I don't think.
No, I don't know.
Oh, why is this not? There we go. All right, copy. Let's do this in real time just to check. When Jack Smith opened his investigation into Trump, how many of these people were not in Congress? All right, let's see. I'll share this tab.
I thought Devin Nunes left in 2021.
I do too. All right, so here we go. 35 were in Congress, 9 were not. Not in Congress. David Perdue, very important one right there in terms of election. Whatever.
Nunez, Zeldin, Collins.
Nunez, Zeldin.
Cory Gardner was my senator.
Mo Brooks was another. Mo Brooks was another interesting one because I'm pretty sure wasn't he one of the ones that was going to object to the certifying of votes on January 6th?
So ask it to confirm that Karen Bass was. Because it might have the assessment wrong.
Yes, she was appointed on November 18th. Her shows she was in from 11 through 22. She resigned in a month later. She resigned a month after. So that's interesting right there. That not all of these people were actively in Congress when this began. So why are they mentioned? Let me pull this back up.
And Nunez was a private citizen.
Right. He was working for Truth Social at the time.
Yeah.
He was the chairman of Truth Social. Smith's team access text to and from the following current. Oh, it does say and former.
Trump Media and Technology Group, not just Truth Social, right?
Excuse me.
But although I think there was a progression, wasn't it? He went to Truth and then they launched TMTG. That one, that acronym.
Ninja Turtles.
That's the one. And then he went over to there. So I don't know the exact timing of that, but that's pretty messed up.
Okay.
And if you recall that the key here, yeah, okay, good. You're going to play that. Well, I'll say what I'm going to say after you play what you're going to play.
Did the toll records that you requested from the senators, did they include the content of the phone calls?
No.
Did the records that you requested, the toll records from the members of Congress, include the content of text messages?
No.
Can you?
So that was a lie. Allegedly.
That's perjury.
It's perjury, but it's perjury about treason, in my opinion. Right? Like lying about treason, that's just an overt act in your treason. And I think that needs to be dealt with. Here's the thing. I said before, Smay 60 says he knew he lied. I think he looks like he's lying.
I think he knows.
I think he definitely knows that he's lying, but I think he's not a good liar. Like, right. I think he's got tells in there, but the Congress people are only authentically angry when it's about themselves. I truly believe that. You see that with Anna Paulina Luna and Brittany Pedersen and the whole breastfeeding on the floor thing, gasping and whining about women's rights because they wanted to proxy vote and sit at home instead of having to go into DC. You see, when this first Arctic frost thing came out, we saw these Congress people give what I would have called some of the best performances we've ever seen them give. But they weren't performing. They were authentically angry because it was about themselves. Oh my gosh, my rights were violated. I'm a congressman. Can you believe it? They violate our rights all the time. Congress people never get upset about it. There has to be accountability for this. And the last thing I'll say on this is, if you remember, Brian, Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro were held in contempt of Congress for not showing up, as I recall.
And they went to prison for it.
And they went to prison. Jack Smith knowingly and willfully lied to Congress. What is the penalty for that?
Yeah. So again, I think a lot of this will be relevant. I think there's a possibility that some of this gets mentioned because a lot of those people are names that go along with the election, claims and everything else. Nunez, Perdue, and Mo Brooks, even Holly, I think was one of the people that was going to object. So you brought something up that I just had to show this. I was going to save it for Y Chromes, but I thought this was absolutely downright hilarious. You were talking about the women on the floor and all that. I saw Tara Bull put this out this morning, and I showed it to Christy, and we both laughed. New broadcasting guidelines for women athletics have been released to crack down on camera angles and slow motion replay that sexualize athletes.
What? Oh man.
Oh man. It's a good thing they haven't discovered women's volleyball yet.
I mean, if you, I can't. I just let's find some more things to stupidly be upset about.
Okay, so getting back to Asawavana, not Asawavana. I can't say Asawavana because
Asawavna.
Asawavana. You can't say Asawavana.
Nobody was saying that until you just.
I was.
Asawavna.
Well, whatever. Donald Trump, President Trump, also put this out. Mike Lindell, the Pillow Man and one of America's greatest and most hardworking patriots, is running to be governor of Minnesota, replacing one of the worst and most incompetent governors in the history of the USA. Early primary voting has begun, and if given the chance, Mike will be spectacular. He truly loves Minnesota, as do I, and want to bring it back from oblivion and embarrassment. He can do it. Nobody has sacrificed more than Mike Lindell in fighting for our country, especially when it comes to election integrity. He truly deserves everything he gets. He will make Minnesota great again. Mike Lindell has my complete and total endorsement. He will not let you down. Good luck, Mike. President Donald J. Trump.
All right.
And that's all I've got to say about that. Also,
yeah. I didn't know that that he had made it through the primary.
He won the primary.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I've been distracted.
It could be very, I know. Poor thing. Well, not poor thing. You're going to whoop ass, but it does suck.
Yeah, it's just a lot. It's, every time there's a new phase, it's like learning a new part of the law.
Yeah, I know. That sucks. CBS News, Elon Musk may have broken election law by offering $1 million checks to voters. Wisconsin board finds the WEC, Wisconsin Elections Commission, found that Musk may have violated the state election bribery law by offering $1 million checks to voters. The commission voted 5-1 to refer 2 complaints to the Brown County District Attorney's Office, claiming that Musk's America PAC awarded $1 million checks to 3 voters who signed a petition against quote-unquote activist judges. So I don't know why that's a story. Like do we just see what was going on in California with the petitions out there? Also, that $1 million check was not for voting. That was for signing a petition. That's it. So
and I'm pretty sure that what Musk did in that whole thing was lawful. I think we examined it at the time and went back through and found that it was lawful. So. But, I'm old enough to remember when Brian Lupo of the Gateway Pundit broke a story about activist judges in the wake of 2020, or activists in the wake of 2020 being awarded judgeships for their actions to help cover up the 2020 election. Allegedly was me doing a Brian right there. I don't know if people caught that. And you broke that story. And then, like 7 or 8 months later, the world picked up the story.
Yeah. Badlandsmedia.tv. We were first. Okay. So this will be our last segment on Asawavna.
Asawavna. What is wrong with you? I'm so disappointed in you right now.
Asawavna. From the Hill House, GOP breaks week-long standoff between Republican leaders and hardliners. House Republicans broke that weeks-long impasse, passing a rule that sets up floor debate and final votes on several measures. The 215 to 211 vote delivers a key win for Speaker Johnson, who has spent weeks trying to unify his conference on the Save America Act and Trump's border policies. Johnson won over Representative Una Panuna Banca. Just because I love doing that so much. Yeah, and Tim Burchett, that's Ash's favorite congressman.
Burchett. Well, John asked him how to pronounce his name, and he said Burchett.
No, he said Burchett.
Oh, I think he said Burchett.
Pretty sure he said Burchett. And I think it was with, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he said it's Burchett. Anyways.
So the accent on the second syllable?
Yes.
That's right.
It's very French. Both of whom had opposed the rule before the July 4th recess by advancing a plan to merge the Save America Act with a fiscal 2027 appropriations bill, a legislative maneuver known on Capitol Hill as merving. And I had to actually look that up. Is that a real thing?
What is it?
Merving. It's
MIRV maneuver.
Multiple. It's like it's a term for like a warhead that splits into numerous different. It's multi-impact vehicle, multiple shit. I can't think of it. It's a military term for a missile that breaks up.
Multiple independently targetable reentry vehicles is
Reentry,
what.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're using a military term to get these all through. MIRVing is the term. It's been around in Congress apparently since like 2011, so it's relatively new. John Boehner apparently used MIRVing, or before it was coined MIRVing, used it to get TPA through the Trans-Pacific part, whatever it is, Act. So anyways, this MIRVing thing is very new to me, but it says, quote, if Save America is stripped out in the Senate, the blame will fall solely on John Thune, Luna wrote. Asked Tuesday about the plan for using the MIRV maneuver liberally, Johnson said, be watching for a lot of MIRVs. And you can see why this MIRV thing is like new to me here. Like, what? So we get introduced to this brand new term, MIRVing, and now Johnson saying, be watching out for a lot of MIRVs. Johnson tried to advance a plan to MIRV the Save America Act to the NDAA before recess, but Luna and Burchett opposed that strategy then. And from what I understand, it's potentially going to be in the NDAA if it doesn't pass through the MIRV. So at this point, like, this Congress is just making shit up. So that's what a MIRV is. They take the Save America Act, and instead of an omnibus bill where they take this massive bill and, put all this pork and whatever shit into it and try and pass it, they're now going to take the Save America Act and put it in all the bills that are going and hope that one of them gets through with the Save America Act.
The fact that they need to do novel, stunty things to pass a voter ID and citizenship bill tells you everything that you need to know about the illegitimate Congress.
And hat tip to Speaker Johnson for trying. I mean, I'll give him credit for trying, but what the crap?
Now you sound like Scott Pressler.
Yeah, I know. Anna Paulina Luna, we will try the MIRV process on the condition that Speaker Johnson attaches the Save America Act to all the appropriation bills and all must-pass bills here in the House and ensures it is sent to the Senate as one bill. If Thune strips it out, then it'll be on him, and the entire country should be watching what he does. If he wants to actively work against voter ID in the Save America Act, he must face the consequences of his action. His state party should censure him, and or he should be primaried if he wants to betray his constituents in this manner. That is the nature of politics. Damn, those are some pretty strong words from Una Panuna going up against the Senate Majority Leader from the House. That's a pretty big deal right there. So
yeah, I just feel like it's all theater under that dome, because they're like, the idea that voter ID and citizenship, and they're not even like, people are like, oh, everybody loves mail-in ballots, so we can't vote for this because, we won't have mail-in ballots. It's basically, we're back to a robust absentee process with that. The way that mail-in ballots are through the mail ballots are defined in the Save America, it's not enough of a control on mail-in ballot, I think, by any election integrity activists stretch of the imagination. But I am starting to wonder, and this is something that you and I talked about in 2024, I think, after the election, like, you got to get the pieces in place. I think we have enough evidence of election fraud. I don't think that we need another election to catch the fraud. I think they caught the fraud in 2016. I think they know exactly who does it and who executes it. But bringing the mind of the people along, it's kicking and screaming at some points, right? That we've been. Are you frozen?
No.
Oh, you were just very still, like a statue. But we've been kicking and screaming, bringing the American people along. There might need to be something really dramatic, and you had said that back in 2024. We're going to have another rigged midterm. And I remember like wanting to throw something at you because I was like, there's no freaking way we can go through another rigged election. But maybe, because there's no reason that they can't have already passed this thing, except that it's not time to pass it. And I think about what was in the the trial by jury experience at Deadwood, what was in that video and the setup, which I think is, a way this could have gone. Well, we know because we passed the Save America Act and it was signed into law. We know that elections are fine. Elections are safe and secure. They're the safest and most secure elections that could ever be anywhere. And so we know that it's fine because we passed the Save America Act. Maybe that's why attaching it to gender, attaching it to all of these things, to kick it down the road. Because there's no reason having both chambers, they couldn't have passed this already. And yet they haven't passed it already.
I mean, the Save America Act only deals with the voter rolls and the mail-in ballots. There's still the machine aspect.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about this last night on Why We Vote. We played the clip from Dan Rather back in 2000, where they were. It's a fantastic clip.
Yeah.
It is a must-watch clip. I saw people asking in the chat last night. I was lurking. Asking because it was pre-recorded. We had to get Patty McMurray on, and there was only a small window where she could record with us. But I saw people asking in the chat why it's not on YouTube, because we had to play that clip, and YouTube would have taken us down if we played that clip for copyright. But that clip right there lays out the rollout for the voting machines, and it does it in a very, very suspect way. So much so that even the news back then, which is shocking to me how the news has evolved in the last 25 years, the news back then was like, yeah, this is fishy, man. This is suspect. No $750 million lawsuits or $2 billion lawsuits against Dan Rather for calling that out. But, and so that poses the question of what's next. And, the same way that Save America would clean up the voter rolls and make everybody secure in it, sarcasm, it would be a temporary fix. I do believe that. I do believe that the Save America Act will put the election fraud apparatus on its heels for the midterms, and you might have an opportunity to see a glimpse of what this country is really designed, made of in terms of partisanship and all that. Again, I don't think that that's we're already past the primary process. So that's where you really need clean elections, because again, they hedge their bets. Everybody that makes it through the primary process, not everybody, but most people that make it through the primary process, it doesn't matter which way they win, the status quo is going to be maintained, right? Between the filibuster and everything else, the status quo is maintained. Nothing ever changes. What's next? Just one last thing, Ash. What's next after the voting machines? And you and I talked about this last night, because when if and when the Save America Act gets passed, there still is the problem with the voting machines. And if we get exposure on these black box machines, you have to have something that's going to usher in, the next generation. I think we need to go retroactive and go back to hand-marked paper ballots, hand counted at the precinct level, which everybody here, I think, would agree with. But that's not what's going to be pushed. Something else is going to be pushed, whether it's blockchain, cell phone, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and I think that this is something you and I have talked about since we met. I think that the real problem that underpins all of this is centralization. And so the Save America, you can do voter ID, you can do citizenship, prove your citizenship before you're allowed to register. You can restrict mail-in ballots to a robust absentee process. I think all of those things are good things. I support all of those. It's hard to even call them reforms because they're just common sense in the way we used to do it before. Seriously, go back and watch Why We Vote last night and that Dan Rather video from the wake of the 2000 election. Everybody should go back and refresh your memory, because we were all a bit discombobulated by 9/11 back then. And when Hava was brought in, we were all looking for brown people at the 7-Eleven or whatever. So you should check out what they did to us in the 2000 to 2002 frame as it comes to elections. But the real problem, so you said, we might actually have a glimpse, right? We might actually have a glimpse of what the will of the people looks like in America. Where we'd have the best ability to see that? If we had community run elections. If the communities owned their elections, and so precinct level, or some different collection of what that looks like. If you had the communities reporting their election results in a read-only format, and every way up from the community, from the precinct level, we'll stick with precinct because that's the kind of mainstream solution that's out there. Precinct level voting, I think we need smaller precincts, but we'll set it aside for now.
Agreed.
All
right.
If you have precinct level voting, then the communities will know what their election results are before they're reported by the state or by the national media, and you won't be able to hoodwink the people within that community, and you'll really be able to see what the breakdown of the United States of America is. And I think that centralization that we've been living through for the past 25 years, I think that is a big part of that is hiding the fact that we are not what they say we are.
Agreed. So that is going to conclude today's segment of Asawavana.
Asawavana.
Asawavana. That's
You're adding syllables. That IKS person's going to yell at me for correcting your pronunciation
All
of the
shows
word.
are why we vote. Asawavana. I'm literally.
Well, if you're doing that, if you're
Asawavana.
Asawavana. So I take the 2 W's and the V for why we vote, and WUV is what I do.
Oh,
but if
so it's
you're
double W,
there are 2 W's.
I know it's a double W. So
but you don't say Asawavana.
Asawavana.
Right, you're combining the W's too, so don't shame me for that.
I am combining the W's.
And IKS in the chat, it's a fake word that we both made up, and we're having fun, so chill out.
Ash, Congress is doing very important work right now. Very important work right now. The House passes a bill to make daylight savings time permanent. Okay.
I like it.
The lower chamber voted 308 to 117 for the sunshine.
Cotton, the lone holdout in the Senate or something.
For the Sunshine Protection Act of 2025, which would make daylight savings time the permanent standard time. 22 Republicans and 95 Democrats voted against the measure. Everybody must hate Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Look, I'm excited about this. I know, like, the further north you get, you're probably less excited about this, because that means it's colder when you wake up in the morning. I like it being dark when I'm in my studio in the morning prepping my show. And I like it being daylight down here in Florida until 7 p.m.
Yeah.
I like that. So I am for it.
Yeah, I think that the factory driven need for daylight savings time is a need of a bygone era. I don't think that we have any need for it. And I think it's discombobulating. And then you have states that don't participate. So you have just one, sure. But then you have the comparison to other parts of the world. So like there's this period of time where the US and England are sometimes, or in East Coast US, sometimes 5 hours apart, sometimes 6 hours apart, because they observe daylight savings a week later or something like that. And it's just messing with time zones. Time zones are hard enough. Then you add in daylight savings time, and it's unnecessarily complicated. I think we should get rid of it. I'm for this bill. But also, it's not real because the Congress is illegitimate.
President Trump, big vote today in the Energy and Commerce Committee on a bill including the Sunshine Protection Act, which will be making daylight savings time permanent. This is so important that hundreds of millions of dollars are spent every year by people, cities, and states being forced to change their clocks.
No.
Many of these clocks are located in towers, and the cost of renting or using heavy equipment to do this twice a year is prohibitive. I'm sorry, I can't read this seriously. I know it's very serious, but I just can't read this seriously. The House will be attaching the Sunshine Protection Act to the highway bill. Great work by Troy Nails, one of the members who voted as well for railway safety. I can't even, man. We can't pass.
Wouldn't it be crazy if you found out that they were spending like $5 million every year to change the clock for daylight savings?
No, they are. They like this.
How? That sounds like money laundering.
Well, I mean, okay, like it's not like an individual place, but across the entire country, I bet you they spend a big chunk of money to get equipment out there if you have a big clock. Although by now it's probably all automated, right? Like, I don't know. It's probably all automated by now. I don't know.
Well, it probably is all automated by now, and they're still charging taxpayers $5 million to change the clock, which might be why he's shining a spotlight on that. Roll them up.
Okay, that could be money laundering. Your state needs to heed this advice here. Mike Johnson being very, very McCarthy right here.
It's in their platform. They want to remove the carceral state, they said. No prisons. They don't want to fund the police. This is not a game. Everybody needs to understand these crazy little mini Mamdanis who are popping up all around the country. They are a danger to you and your family. This is not a game. If they promise you free stuff, there is far more beneath those promises that even some of these people do not understand themselves. And
He
so
doesn't look real.
Republican Party to stand on the founding principles of the greatest nation in the history of the world. It is
Looks
our
like
duty.
claymation.
And we're doing it on behalf of all of you, even the journalists who don't agree with our policies all the time. You better agree on these principles because it's what keeps you free. By the way, it's what keeps the press free. Okay. This is essential for your well-being and your family. This is not a game. This is not our father's Democrat Party. We're not arguing over marginal tax rates anymore. We're arguing over whether or not freedom is going to survive. And that's why we're so serious about this.
He's got like the rosy cheeks of the Santa Claus character in A Year Without Santa Claus. I don't know who. What?
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Oh my God. Okay, we're definitely changing that this Christmas.
Never seen that.
We should do a watch party.
I just thought that was a lot.
He's not wrong.
That he's not wrong, but that's a lot, man. Like
no.
Yeah, that's
no. And I'll tell you one thing. You know what's more dangerous than Mamdani? Somebody like Phil Weiser, who presents as the old school Democrat. This is not your father's Democrat Party. Phil Weiser puts himself in that kind of posture and position, but he's actually DSA. He actually is going to carry forward there. And regular Democrats are, the retarded ones that are, the headline news people, the normie Democrats, they're going to fall for it. And Mike Johnson is not wrong. The DSA is absolutely radical. And I know it might seem down in Florida like that level of communism is far off. No way, man. It's here, it's advanced, and people are being swindled by it. And young people whose parents didn't teach them to not be retarded communists are getting hoodwinked by the retarded communists.
Yeah, my point is all of that goes away with free and fair elections. There's no chance that the DSA has any power without stolen elections, or with.
I'm not so sure. I mean, like broadly across the nation, yes. In New York or Denver or San Francisco, I'm not so sure, Brian.
Yeah, maybe, but let their local politics, influence their local, communities, and that's their choice. If they want to be retards, then let them go and vote DSA and just drown themselves even more. What needs to happen is the federal government support of those types of entities, and not just those entities, any state. The government welfare, the general welfare needs to be toned down dramatically. And when that happens,
out, I would say.
Exactly.
Because that enables it, right? It enables when it's like, oh my God, Trump is taking away, all needs of children on SNAP, and he's going to destroy the Bureau of Land Management in our state and all these things. And it's like, no, you guys are communists that are laundering the money of the people of the nation, because federal subsidies are this, federal welfare that comes into states like mine. 40% of the budget, up to 40% of the budget, according to some assessments, is federal subsidies. And then that's being laundered into stuff that the American people don't want. People in Kansas and Nebraska definitely don't want federal tax dollars going to trans and kids, but that's what they get. And they have no say in it. That whole thing needs to stop.
Yes. Real quick, let's hit a sponsor, and then we'll just have a fun with a couple videos here that I thought were quite hilarious. So we'll have fun for just a moment here. But guys, everybody's talking about weight loss injections because the results are oh so dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. So what if you're looking to lose weight, but you're not interested in painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of those intense side effects? That's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean. And the results are remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy and to curb your appetite and cravings so you're not as hungry. But listen, lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. Let's get you started with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add lean to your healthy diet and exercise routine. All right.
Love
so let's have a little bit of fun. The internet has been blowing up with this Democrat's candidate for Michigan. Have you seen this clip of her? I
have.
Man, this is awesome.
I am going to be working on our behalf. I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way.
In a van down by the river.
We're going to stick it to them. I like her spirit.
A little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way.
That was kind of a Chris Farley. She looks like she was channeling Chris Farley
That's
just
what I
then.
just
But you
said,
know
a
what is
van down by the river.
You know what's crazy is Democrats have never been able to pull off joy. Remember the whole Kamala Joy campaign?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're weird, and we're the party of joy. We're the party of joy. We're the party of joy, damn it.
You know, she sounds like she pronounces Nevada the same way as you, Ash.
I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy.
Yeah, she definitely pronounces it Nevada. She's a
That's how it's
Nevadian.
pronounced.
It's not how it's pronounced.
It is.
And here's another
By everyone in the state.
Here's another awesome moment from this is an actual senator, Chucky Schumer. Chucky Schumer, you got to listen for it. Turn your volume up.
On Iran and the NDAA. When all
Oh, it's Ash Wednesday. We'll have a little fun today.
At least he didn't poop his pants like Jerry Nadler had to waddle off the stage like the penguin at that point. And that one.
On Iran and the NDAA. When all the
We need term limits, man. You can't even stop yourself from farting while you're giving.
And sometimes you gotta fart. You gotta fart. If you're in the middle of giving a speech for the record for the U.S. Senate, will live in infamy. I hope that the court reporter put the fart noise into the record.
PHBBBT.
And then his words, and then in brackets, fart sound.
Oh man, that's so embarrassing. So we've got Swalwell now farting, we've got Nadler pooping himself, and we've got Schumer farting now. That's just awesome. That's just awesome. All right, let's jump into this clip. Ash sent me this.
Love this.
Ash sent me this yesterday, and
G's response to this was, "Trust me, bro." LOL.
Trust me, bro. I'm with G. I'm not gonna lie. I'm with G. He
fine.
does say he hasn't seen it himself. Here we go.
Wasn't exactly an even trade, but for President Trump, it was pretty even.
He usually comes out on top.
Not usually, always.
Always. What are we looking at here? These look exquisite.
Yep. So these are the displays of our currency over the years. Some of it, like we used to have silver certificates. We used to be backed by silver, sometimes gold. And then in the 70s, we just went to what was called fiat currency, where you didn't have to keep gold or silver in the vault. If any of these are still outstanding, though, the silver or gold for them is at Fort Knox, waiting for them to be claimed if so needed.
Have you visited Fort Knox?
I haven't. People on my staff has. We're going to the treasurer's office. The treasurer has been to Fort Knox. I am happy to say all gold is present and accounted for. The U.S. has the largest pile of gold in the world, over $1 trillion at current market value.
And we're getting more gold from Venezuela.
So a couple things here. We have $1 trillion worth of gold in Fort Knox. We are $40 trillion in debt. So that's interesting there. Did it kind of feel like like he was not prepared to say that? Did you get
No,
that
I don't think
sense?
so. I think he wanted to say it. I think Jesse Waters looked very surprised when he did say it. I don't know if you saw his reaction, but he does like a double take.
He does. But let's well, look, before we talk about that part, the thing I thought was fascinating is Besson was talking about we went to a fiat currency in the 70s. Well, Ash and I are covering Creature from Jekyll Island on Badlands Book Club.
Yep.
And maybe that was a boop to our soft disclosure ad where we thought we were going back to the 1970s, but we went to the 1770s because the last chapter of Badlands Book Club, we've been messing around with fiat currency a lot longer than the 1970s.
Yeah.
The 1770s.
Not where the Continental.
The Continental, where 5 million of them could buy you a suit.
Yeah. I'm rewatching the show Turn, Washington Spies. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's pretty good. You'd probably like it. It's a plot show about the Culper spy ring on Long Island that was informing, and in that, this was fresh in my mind in terms of the not worth a Continental thing. That saying, not worth a Continental, goes to the Continental dollars during the Revolutionary War. But in turn, and I don't know, I meant to ask you about this if you know, the British were intentionally flooding all of the colonial states with fabricated Continentals. They had employed a bunch of loyalist printing presses, and they were printing Continentals to devalue the currency such that they wouldn't. And I just thought that was so interesting because it's always currency manipulation. It's never the market decide. We're told we have to abandon the free markets and abandon free market principles because they don't work, but we're never seeing free market principles at play because the powerful are always manipulating it.
Yeah, the last chapter we did in book club is fantastic in covering a lot of that stuff. I do believe it mentioned that the Brits were flooding the market with Continentals.
Did it? Yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't recall that part of it. It was like it felt like a new detail, and then I was like, oh, I wonder if that's true, and then I just forgot to ask you about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does, but it goes from like printing like $2 million worth of Continentals in 1776, and by 1780 they were printing like $400 million worth. And it's like, whoa, you can't start with a fiat currency at $2 million and within 4 years you're printing $400 million worth of it. And again, to your point there, I think a lot of that could have been flooded in from the Brits counterfeiting. But at the same time, I said this during book club, when you see something like the Whiskey Rebellion over, taxing whiskey to collect a tax, taxing whiskey to pay off, the war debt. The reason they rebelled might not be because of the tax itself, but because the whiskey was worth more than any of the money.
More valuable. Yeah.
The whiskey was a commodity at that point that had way more value than the fiat currency. So I just thought it was interesting.
Still is. Made that joke before.
That's true. I just think it's interesting that Besant is there saying that since the 70s, and he doesn't say the 1970s, he says the 70s, fiat currency, whatever. But let's go ahead and play that again to pay attention to Waters' reaction is definitely surprised, but Besant is kind of like, oh shit, he caught that. And he's like, well, it wasn't me, it was the treasurer. Which, isn't he the treasurer? I mean, if he's the secretary,
no, he's the secretary of the Treasury, but
isn't he also the treasurer?
I don't think so.
No, that's not his.
While you're playing this, I'll look up who the treasurer is.
We used to be backed by silver, sometimes gold. And then in the 70s, we just went to what was called fiat currency, where you didn't have to keep gold or silver in the vault. If any of these are still outstanding, though, the silver or gold for them is at Fort Knox, waiting for them to be claimed if so needed.
Have you visited Fort Knox?
I haven't. People on my staff has. We're going to the treasurer's office. The treasurer has been to Fort Knox. I am happy to say all gold is present and accounted for. The U.S. has the largest pile of gold in the world.
Okay. I'm just saying.
The current.
Go ahead.
The current treasurer of the United States is Brandon Beach, a former Georgia state senator. President Trump named him to the role on March 23rd, 2025, and he was formally appointed on March 28th, 2025, notably breaking a 76-year streak of women holding the position. A quick clarification. This is a different role from the Secretary of the Treasury, which is currently held by Scott Bessent, who has served since January 28th, 2025. The Secretary is the cabinet level head of the Treasury Department and the President's chief economic advisor, while the Treasurer oversees the U.S. Mint and Bureau of Engraving and Printing and signs of U.S. currency alongside the Secretary.
So that is awesome for two reasons. One, it's like they bred our mind, right? Because that's literally what I was saying. Isn't he the treasurer? They clarified that. Also, I'm pretty sure that Beach was a big-time election denier.
Nice.
I remember covering him very much during 2021 and 2022. And I'm pretty sure he was a big election denier. Also, that's why we're $40 trillion in debt, because women have been the treasurer for however many years.
Well played. I have no defense. For 76 years, women were running the treasury, and the country is bankrupt. So, what are you going to do?
Oh, now you got to buy me a second here so I can play a clip that is so fitting from Y Chromes. It's so fitting for this moment right here.
La, da, da, da,
That's what you're gonna do? Okay, here it is.
Your wife and been like, dang.
Oh, I saw it when you played this.
Damn it.
It's so fitting when you find out women have been in charge of the treasury for
76 years.
For 76 years.
76
Okay.
years.
Also, Besson put this out. As America commemorates 250 years of independence, the U.S. Mint will be striking this new $1 gold coin to honor the enduring legacy of liberty and a lasting symbol of patriotism. Featuring President Trump, it celebrates the strength of American values and the promise of a nation dedicated to preserving freedom for all. Let's go.
Yeah.
Definitely sounds like this might be the at least a nod to getting back to the gold standard in some form or fashion. I would love it to be the silver standard because I am a silver fanatic, and that would be fantastic. Besson does say, primarily with silver, but gold too for a little while. Let's get back to the silver standard.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's the indications that I think they're making are that there's going to be sort of a basket of commodities that backs our currency. So gold, silver, Bitcoin, right? And I know G would be like, no, Bitcoin's totally something separate. It's warfare, etc. The messaging coming out of the Trump administration is, in my opinion, a restructure of the global financial system, that was put in place in the wake of World War II. And has grown, apparently under the watchful gaze of women, and got us to the point of requiring a great reset, where they all talked about the need for a great reset and wanted to conduct said reset in a way that allowed them to keep their power when they were the ones that got us to that point in the first place. I always had a problem with that. I think President Trump has taken that away. And not just President Trump, the administration and this current economic policy, both domestically and globally. And I have a ton of faith in Scott Bessent. He is my favorite gay of all the gays.
Silver is getting,
and I know the Colorado King of the gays, and Bessent's still my favorite gay.
Silver is getting crushed right now. Badlandsgold.com, shameless plug there. Badlandsgold.com, get you some silver because it's on sale right now, and the writing is being written on the wall. Ash, to the point you just said, I thought this was a fantastic segment of a conversation with Jameson Greer, the U.S. Trade Representative.
How will the changes that you and President Trump are making in the global trade order, how will they outlive this administration?
Well, when you change a trade relationship or you trade supply chains, you're creating new constituencies and you're creating new incentives. And what I hear repeatedly from companies is they want certainty, right? And that can mean a couple different things. When some say certainty, they want to go back to the status quo ante. That can't happen. Others just want to know what the program is. And if you just look at the precedent, in the first term, President Trump put a lot of tariffs on China. He redid NAFTA. And a lot of people thought, oh, the Biden folks are going to, get rid of all that. Didn't happen at all. They kept those tariffs on China, expanded some. They kept USMCA. There's a through line between what was done in the first term, the Biden administration, and now. We're increasing tariff barriers to protect domestic production. We're redoing our trade agreements. That is the trend across administrations, across parties.
Oh my.
Yeah, go ahead and say it. There's a
That's
through line.
That's a Devo through line.
There's a through line from the Trump administration through the Biden administration to the second Trump administration.
Has John seen that? Did you send that to John?
I posted in our group and said, that sounds a little Devo-y.
It does. Yeah. So everybody should watch Daily Herald today because he'll probably talk about it.
Yeah, he definitely should talk about that. Okay. So
Power Hour tonight, which is probably the more appropriate place, but
it is Wednesday. So there you go. Jay Clayton, I guess is his appointment hearing like coming up, because everybody's talking about it right now, and Rapid Response is sharing it out at the cyclic rate, whichever one you want to say.
Maybe it's today. I'll look it up while you read.
Senator Jim Banks, Clayton is an accomplished patriot who is clear-eyed about the threats facing our nation. He will be exceptional DNI. You had there was another one. I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. John Thune had a great sit-down with Jay Clayton, POTUS's nominee to serve as DNI. Jay is eminently qualified. No, he's not.
It's today, according to New York Times.
And the Senate will work to confirm him quickly. So I'm just highlighting that because, Pulte, and that's like the timing on all this is very interesting, right? Pulte goes into DNI. When that happened, one of the first things I said was Pulte is going to be there for, I think there's going to be an election aspect to this, and maybe even specifically to real estate and corruption in real estate and blackmail and everything else like that. Clayton's nomination is today. Tomorrow we get this expose from declassified stuff, and all of this is happening like within a 24-hour period. Like it's like Pulte, time to give back the Ferrari. You took it for the test drive, you beat the crap out of it, you did what you wanted to do. Now give it back. It's time to give it to the other people, the apparently eminently more qualified, and he's not eminently more qualified, other than the fact that he worked for what's that big firm, Covington and no, not that's not the firm he worked for. Hold on. Go ahead. I'll let you comment while I look at it.
I don't really have anything.
Sullivan and Cromwell.
That was one of the EO firms, wasn't it?
I think. No, that was Covington and Burling.
Got it. Okay.
That was the EO firm. I believe. So just interesting chain of events there. People seem to be now completely and totally on board with Jay Clayton, and they couldn't get behind Pulte. They have the exact same experience in known intelligence work.
Cool.
ICE officer fatally shot driver in Maine, fearing for public safety. That's not gonna. The fact that DHS is kind of pivoting to that fear for public safety, that's not going to be a great look here. An ICE agent fatally shot a motorist in Maine, the second time in a week that ICE has used deadly force. The man who was killed was identified as a 24-year-old native of Colombia. Agents were surveilling an address for a person with a final order for removal from the country. When ICE tried to stop a vehicle driven by someone else coming from that address, the, quote, vehicle attempted to flee the scene, and fearing for public safety, an officer discharged his weapon, the department said. Secretary Marquane Mullen told him that the officer opened fire after the man tried to use his vehicle as a weapon against ICE agents. The agents involved did not have body cams. Now, there's witnesses that are saying that they weren't trying to use as a weapon. There's a video that unclearly shows the whole thing. Who knows what's happening? But Holman came out and put a stop temporarily to the traffic stops. This is going to be the big problem right here. And the Atlantic is already going to run this story, of course. The shooter in Maine was a new ICE recruit. And so that's going to be the narrative that's going to be put out here, is that the training is inadequate. Trump is out there recruiting all these new people for DHS, and they're just pushing them through the law enforcement mill, and they're not giving them adequate training. I watched the video, and I mean, again, it's a cell phone camera from far away. It's not even worth playing on the show because you won't be able to see what's going on. And I don't have many questions about it. I think it was justified, but
Was the person shot obstructing immigration enforcement?
no, he looked like he was probably trying to run him over. I guess that's
Well,
obstructing
and
immigration.
the answer is yes.
But obstructing, hold on, because obstructing immigration enforcement is not justified lethal self-defense. Like, you cannot use lethal force if they're obstructing ICE enforcement.
Great. We can agree to disagree, Brian.
No. That's like established law. Like you
By the illegitimate Congress? Sure. Yeah. No, I think that if they are in the process of and to your point, like doing violence on immigration officers.
Now you're
in
moving.
fear for their life.
Now you're moving the goalpost.
No, I still support the other one, and I think the law is illegitimate. So it's a moral difference that we're talking about, and we can agree to disagree on the moral difference. But in that sense, if a law enforcement, this is true across the board, not just in immigration enforcement. It's the one thing that I do support the cops, even though I think that there's a lot of bad cops out there. They have a right to go home. Police officers have a right to go home. And if somebody is, if they're in fear for their life, they can use deadly force.
But
and if you put yourself in that position where they're using deadly force against you because you're driving your car at them or something, FAFO.
Okay, but you're changing the terms here. Okay, just going back to what you asked, is obstructing an ICE agent justifiable for deadly force? No. Now, obstructing an ICE agent in a way that puts his life at risk, that puts the public safety at risk, absolutely. But like somebody going up to an ICE agent and like not opening the door, you can't blast through the door and kill him because he's obstructing an ICE agent.
No, agreed.
Immigration enforcement. That's my point. So
no, I don't disagree with that, but I think that that's a very fine line. If you think about Renee Good or that Petty guy, was it Alex?
Petty.
Yeah,
Pretty.
like. So that was definitely began as obstruction in Good's case, right? She was attempting to obstruct ICE enforcement. And that was what was in my head when I said, were they obstructing ICE enforcement? Was that level a car is a weapon.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
So is a whip, as John Drake and I found out. It's brandishing a weapon. But there's a fine line from when it crosses over from just obstruction into, potentially lethal obstruction that could be lethal for the ICE agent. And in any one of those exchanges, this is where I fall on the Petty thing, or Alex Petty thing too. Petty, I think, right? Because the joke was pretty good. Good, yeah. Alex Petty thing, like that. He was engaging in kind of a scuffle with an ICE agent while armed, right? And to me, FAFO. Yeah. Like that's because the police have a right to go home, and the police are doing a job. You can disagree with the law that oversees and governs the ability of them to engage to do immigration enforcement generally, but you don't get to put them in a dangerous situation where they have to fear for their life. If you are that person that puts an ICE agent in a situation where they're fearing for their life such that they have to use deadly force against you, it's your fault. And
again, you're making a very, very valid argument. It's just it's not obstruction.
It is obstruction, but it's not obstruction. Is not the line, is what you're saying. There can be obstruction that doesn't require deadly force, but
the thing Preddy
disagree.
The thing Preddy did that justified deadly force was assaulting an officer, not the obstruction. If he would have just stood there filming him and stood between him and the person, that's the obstruction. That's not something that justifies lethal defense.
Cool. According to Brian, everybody go out and obstruct law enforcement.
And you'll get shot?
Just see what happens. It depends on how you're obstructing law enforcement. And I get what you're saying. You're pulling another law. I get it. I err on the side of the immigration enforcement officers, particularly because the people that they're rounding up have a tendency of killing people.
Agreed.
That in my state anyway.
Don't go. Yeah.
And they don't want to go, and then you have all of these white leftist clown looking people that come out to help. It's a dangerous situation for the law enforcement officer, and it's a different situation in your neck of the woods than it is in mine. It's much more dangerous, and I'm going to err on the side of, if so they're trying to do lawful immigration enforcement operations and people are engaging in obstruction, that can escalate into a deadly situation. I'm going to err on the side of law enforcement.
It can, and when it escalates, there's additional charges that are
Sure.
violated.
Yeah, it's a different set of laws. Well, you know where it starts? It starts with them coming out and obstructing.
Obstruction is probably one of the charges that will be on there, but that is not the one that's going to justify deadly force. That's my point. Okay,
Cool.
so moving on.
Agree to disagree.
You can agree to be wrong. This is established law.
Like you are in Nevada. Sure.
This is established law. This is established law. Obstruction of law enforcement is
law
not.
that varies from state to state, and the lines drawn vary from state to state. And you and I are talking about what's morally right versus what's morally wrong. I think if you're going out there with the intent to obstruct, and then like Alex Preddy, you find yourself wrestling with an ICE agent and you're armed.
That's assaulting a police officer. That's not obstruction. That is assaulting a police officer.
Police officer, though, he
Hold
went
on.
in to protect the woman on the ground, right? That's the story we were told.
See, this
So
is
that
the
was just
problem, man.
obstruction.
Ash. I'm not. You're agreeing with me, but you're still not making the argument. Obstruction does not justify lethal force. Obstruction can escalate to assault, resisting arrest with assaulting an officer. That justifies, in certain cases, lethal self-defense. I'm with you, but obstruction does not.
I know, but you're
Obstruction happens
justifying
all the time.
obstruction.
No. I'm not. Absolutely not justifying obstruction. I'm absolutely not justifying obstruction.
Defending it, then.
No, I'm not justifying. I'm not defending it. He
You
should
are.
have. If you are obstructing a police officer, you should absolutely be arrested. If you're obstructing a police officer, it does not mean the cop can kill you. Now, if you obstruct an officer and then you assault the officer and batter the officer and get into a fight with the officer and you have a gun on you especially, then yes, it's going to be justified. But obstruction itself does not justify lethal use of force.
Agreed.
Ever. Well, excuse me, I shouldn't say ever. Let me strike that, because this is where we get into where we agree on this. Okay, we got to move on. I think we all agree we're just talking about different things. Remember this video, Ash?
We begin with breaking news at 11. This exclusive video just in. It's dash cam video shared with Eyewitness News, and it's from the red semi-truck that plowed into a number of vehicles.
Woo, that was an illegal alien out in California. 4 years. 4 years and 8 months for that. Killed 3 people, injured numerous others. Total
Good thing
wreck.
we have the law. We should totally abide by it and, respect it and point to it to make our arguments.
And California allowing he's an Indian national, Indian national that crossed the Mexican border in 2022. California is claiming that he does have authorization to work, and therefore the issuing of the driver's license was legal. I also point, and you and I have talked about this many, many times on Why We Vote. California gives driver's licenses to everybody. And so I'm really curious how that played out. But the guy pled guilty, got 4 years and 8 months for killing 3 people. And we had J6ers that were in jail, as Enrique Tarrio pointed out. Wasn't even in DC, but 22 years for him. That's crazy right there. But there you have Florida. Remember when Florida, did you see Florida tried to sue? They just recently, they tried to sue California, and Supreme Court would have been court of original jurisdiction, right? For that case.
Yes.
And the Supreme Court denied it. The Supreme Court said, we're not going to hear that case. Florida tried to sue them to compel them to not issue CDLs to illegals and or driver's licenses to illegals. And so I don't think we've had this conversation. What would have happened? Like, Florida should just turn around now and be like, okay, well, we're not going to honor driver's licenses from California. Like, what's the, I wonder what the implications for that are. Like, why
are you going to enforce it?
If you pull somebody over with a California driver's license, you give them a ticket for driving without a license. And if that's a criminal offense, that's, a misdemeanor that justifies arrest them.
So that's going to depend on what the driving without a license statute is in the specific state.
that you're talking about, that might be a constitutional violation of like the freedom of movement stuff, which I think
That's
is
what I was
what
thinking.
gives us the overarching authority to have all of the different states honor everybody else's driver's licenses. But it's an interesting dispute, and it would be, but then again, you're going to have all of your cops, all of your, judicial officers, everybody on the same page, abiding by the, updated, we're not going to recognize California. You're essentially barring Californians from your state if they're driving themselves.
So let's push back on the freedom of movement. And this is one of the arguments that the sovereign citizens make, right? The sovereign people. This is one of the arguments they make, is that the license can only be for commercial, for CDL. So a driver's license is unconstitutional because that in and of itself is a restriction on freedom of movement. The idea that you have to have a license. So you can make that argument. The other argument you can make
Car
is
registration as well.
Yeah, exactly. The other argument you can make is, or not argument, but the other thing Florida could do is just refuse to accept California driver's licenses for any official capacity. Now, this could be things like buying liquor, buying tobacco. I got carded yesterday for tobacco. I was like, and I didn't have my ID on me. I was like, what the crap? And it's the fake stuff too. Like I use the corn
pouches.
stuff. No, the corn. It's corn. It's not pouches.
Oh.
It's but
You're using corn tobacco?
it's like corn. I think it's like corn husk. I'm not going to plug the company because they're not a sponsor. But yeah, I can't. The pouches suck. But anyways, you could use the ID, like forbid California IDs for being used for things like that. I would be curious to see if Florida would try something like that to compel California, because I think that's how we get a lot of illegal voters on the voter rolls, is through that. Also, people go from Florida to California just to get a driver's license and then come back to Florida, drive around Florida with a California driver's license when they're illegal aliens.
Yeah, I know when we were doing canvassing, there was a CDL school, and the number of students from that school that were on the voter rolls was astounding. It was like this one location, and they were from all over the country, right? People had come to this school, CDL school. And when you graduate, you get awarded a CDL. Well, we have automatic voter registration here. And so all of those people were ending up on the voter rolls. And the state of Colorado doesn't care. They say, well, they don't vote. They only vote if they're lawful residents here. And so it doesn't really matter if they're on the rolls. They don't vote. I think that if CDL is a federally designated thing and states are violating that and Americans are ending up dead as a result, then there should be very, very severe penalties for what California has done, and not just California.
I got to point out as we move on here, Bradley A90 had one of the best comments I've ever seen in the chat. Ash, stop arguing with Can and worry about that eagle trying to get your dog.
I know. I watch it whenever I'm watching other people on Daily. I always feel like you're about to be lifted up, and that would be a funny AI video for somebody to do, is to come in and grab us out of our studio and have the eagle fly off with us. It'd be hilarious.
But the eagle is literally like coming in claws right at Lilypad.
Well, how did I get all blurry all of a sudden?
I don't know, because you're looking at Lilypad.
I think it's because I put my hand up in that way and it messed with the camera.
My mom had a hawk do that with one of her dogs one time. She got it back, like it dropped it right away, but like it picked it up in North Carolina, picked it up out of the front yard, and my mom threw a broom at it and it dropped the dog.
Nice.
Yeah.
As one of my big fears is that Lilypad is out back and you get a hawk, or because we have big birds of prey here, there's bird sanctuaries around and whatnot, and her being carried off like a little snack.
All right. The Iran war continues. CENTCOM saying at 3 p.m. Eastern, CENTCOM forces began launching an additional round of strikes against Iran to continue degrading Iranian capabilities used to attack commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. The strikes are taking place as American forces prepare to resume the naval blockade against the Iranian ports and coastal areas. The blockade goes into effect at 4 p.m. Eastern. Like, at this point, like, I'm trying to imagine what it would be like to be a Marine or a sailor on one of these ships right here, you know, like the fighter squadrons, and just like, how do you, or commander, how do you deal with these at this point? This is so nonsensical. at this point. Like, I don't know, man. Here's another one. U.S. CENTCOM forces resume the naval blockade against vessels transiting to and from. There are currently more than 20 U.S. Navy warships and hundreds of military aircraft operating across the Middle East. President Trump sat down with an interview with, I think this is Trey Yingst, I think is his name, the guy that's been reporting from over there. Sat down with an interview with them and had some interesting clips here.
Do you anticipate that the strikes we're seeing this week against Iran will expand? Are you considering hitting energy targets or other locations inside of Iran?
I'll save the energy targets for last, but ultimately we'll hit energy targets, yeah. But we're going to hit them very hard tonight. We're going to hit them very hard tomorrow night. We're going to hit them very hard the night after. And then next week it gets really bad for them because next week comes the power plants. Next week comes the bridges. We're going to knock out all their power plants. We're going to knock out all their bridges unless they get to the table and negotiate.
Do you believe the Iranians are serious about making a deal?
I think they have no choice.
Why haven't they yet?
I think if I didn't do the way I'm doing, they would never make a deal. They would have never made a deal with Obama. That deal was the worst. What they did sign was a worthless piece of paper. What they signed with Obama was a worthless piece of paper that was a road to a nuclear weapon. And what I have is a wall. There will be no nuclear weapon. I'll never sign. And when you listed the three things, by far the most important is they will not have a nuclear weapon.
I know that you are not a huge, fan of the geopolitics, but this is just like unreal. Go ahead.
Bowling Mom says, what happened to we don't tell them when we're going to hit them? I don't think that, I don't see this as President Trump releasing war strategy. I think he's negotiating. And I think that he's, you and I have talked about this quite a bit. He's always negotiating, but when it comes to this, it's power projection. And, I tend to agree with Burning Bright that the deals are done and we're just seeing the stories of the deals coming out. But you are correct, sir, in that do not care about the wretched desert. And I think that we all should be focused way more on what's happening at home.
So I think, and here's the interest, like I tend to agree with BB on that I think the deals are already done, but I still believe that broadly there's still factions within the IRGC, maybe even the IRGC as a whole, but definitely factions within, and we'll get to a clip here where Trump alludes to this, that are beholden to outside entities that would push back against that deal coming to fruition because they want to keep, that kind of that boogeyman in the region that justifies the buildup of the military-industrial complex, that justifies the expenditure of arms and everything else, and keeps that machine going. And President Trump alludes to this on a couple clips here. I do want to play, before we get to those clips, I want to play this one about Pickaxe, because Pickaxe is this new nuclear facility that President Trump is just very interesting statements here about our capabilities.
We're looking at Pickaxe because somebody said there's a little activity. We have cameras, Space Force. We have cameras they can read the badge. They can read your name, probably Mohammed. They can read your name on a badge from space. And every area of Pickaxe, but the other three are covered.
But specifically
if they make any move, we immediately go and do whatever we have to do. But they haven't. They were so decimated.
Some weapons experts say that the United States doesn't have the ability to strike deep enough with these bunker buster bombs at Pickaxe Mountain.
They can go deep. We have good stuff. Nobody knows about Pickaxe. By the way, nobody knows if they even are doing anything in Pickaxe. It's just something that comes up. We have cameras on it. There's very little activity there. But if there's even just a small amount, we'll hit it, and we'll hit it hard.
Now, I don't know what the context of this Pickaxe is, if this is something, but Trump's like, yeah, we're watching them. We got the Space Force. We can read the badges. We got bunker busters that can go all the way deep. They can go really, really deep. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, nothing's going on there. Nobody knows about this place. Like, we're watching it. Nothing's happening. I don't know. Wild.
Yeah.
Here's the the illusion that, this is a process of rooting out, the proverbial bad actors over there.
You've called the new leadership in Iran a changed regime. Do you still believe that?
Well, I knew the first group for a little while, and they were evil, and they're no longer with us. I knew the second group also a little bit better, and they were evil, and they're no longer with us. And the third group, they have some bad ones in there, some very bad ones in there.
Just some?
And I think they're the ones that are stopping a deal.
So are you negotiating with the wrong people?
Well, now I don't want to negotiate now. I said, let's not negotiate. 3 days ago, we had a deal.
When was the last time you spoke with an Iranian official?
Well, not me, but let's say my representatives. I have spoken to them, but my representatives over the course of, actually, an hour ago.
And what message was delivered?
They want to make a deal, but every time they make a deal, they break it. They don't want to die. People don't want to die. About an hour ago.
And what message was delivered?
You better make a deal. You're not going to have anybody left. We're being very careful with the civilian population, as you know, but I said, you better make a deal. You're not going to have anything left.
And you think they will?
They should. I don't know if they will or not.
So in this very real war where civilian casualties are minimalized, there's hardly any U.S. casualties other than the initial, thing. And 6 of those were an accident, allegedly, an accident. That's what we're told. And then the other part, I don't know if you saw the clip yesterday, but these new sea drones that we're sending out, like Canncon put this video out, like, look at these sea drones. They just hit this naval port. And it's like, I pulled the clip up. We destroyed that port right during the first attack. So like was said during DPH, we're hitting the same spots just again. And there's no action going on there. There's nobody working on this place to rebuild it or anything. You could see the video. It's just a broken down building that we blew up back in March, and we're hitting it again. So I don't know, man.
So what you're saying is that the war is a story.
The war is absolutely a story, in my opinion. Yeah.
Shout out to Burning Brick.
Yeah. Well, I want to give a shout out to Ghost right here because he called this. So President Trump met with the new Iraqi prime minister yesterday, and Ghost called this yesterday on Daily. He said, I bet you we're going to see a Syria-U.S. energy deal. And this isn't exactly an energy deal, but U.S. supporting efforts to revive Iraq-Syria crude oil pipeline, according to State Department officials. So just want to give that hat tip there to Ghost. He called that yesterday.
Well done, Ghost.
Yes.
He's been on fire lately, actually.
Ghost, he has.
Hitting the deltas.
He has absolutely been on fire.
Booping it.
Another little interesting clip that President Trump, he posted this yesterday again with Canada, Greenland, and Venezuela down there.
Look at President Trump in that picture.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it. With all the Europeans there. We got Starmer, Maloney. We got von der Leyen.
Side quest, look at all that gold in there. Yesterday in the back channel Badlands chat, Burning Bright was saying, well, if it's true that we have $1 trillion of gold in Fort Knox, they should sell it and buy sats. And my initial thought was, President Trump loves gold so much. There's no way he's doing that.
He does. So we are winding up here. I do want to point out we got some dog comms, guys.
Yeah.
So cool.
Do you know what kind of dog it is?
No, we don't, but we got dog comms. Swift and Kelsey's mystery dog debuts at Trump Airport in West Palm.
I want to know what kind of dog it is. Isn't that an important part of the comms?
I don't know, but trust the plan. There we are. Department of War. Are you trusting the plan, Patriot? And then Alpha was actually the first person I saw that put this out. Per Army Directive 2026-17, KEC, the 4th PSYOP group Instagram page and all social media accounts will be archived and deactivated on August 6, 2026 for public information regarding 4th PSYOP group and U.S. Army Special Forces. Follow 1st Special Forces Command. And there we go. So their page is going to be taken down as well.
A fluffy white Samoyed.
A what?
That's what they have, according to Claude.
What was
Travis,
that last word you said?
Samoyed.
What is that?
Hold for processing. I'm going to pull a picture up so you can see it. Images.
Oh my goodness. Did you
Oh,
see?
it's cute. Cute little fluffy.
This was while we were live. Trump just locked himself in the situation. Something biblical is happening.
Nice.
You know it's real because of the thumbnail with the.
You know it's real because Benny Johnson said it, and he would never lie. Oh, wait.
4K, crystal clear, Ash, of his face.
This is a fluffy white Samoyed.
I could totally see Travis Kelce having that dog. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, we don't hate on the dog. That dog is adorable.
I love every dog. I
Love every dog.
I've never met a dog that I haven't liked. However, like Albert Camus in The Stranger, right? Dogs, you personify your dog. Your dog personifies you, I should say.
Should we start doing our thumbnails for our shows? Like,
let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Just
yeah, it'll be good. So I bet we'll get more views.
Trump's giving a speech at 9 p.m. If I ever dip to that level of faggotry,
yeah,
please just don't take me seriously anymore. And please don't take me seriously. Do your own research. But, you know,
4K. Oh my gosh. You need to pray for a speedy trial. It's over. It's over. Brian, this is over. This case, there's no way. Erica Kirk, she has a right to a speedy trial. How dare you? How dare you consider that this man is innocent until proven guilty? Aren't you a Christian? Aren't you a Christian?
I'm doing all my thumbnail poses right now.
I know. I love them. I feel like we can clip them. That's a good one. That's a super good one. That's a good one too. Oh, I like that one.
All right, let's do we have any rants? I don't even know why anybody would pay us to do this show. Why would you guys do that when we get to shenanigans like this? Although it does help us stay on the air without having to make retarded
yeah, we don't
we don't have to do that because of Rumble rants.
Something biblical is happening right now. President Trump has locked himself in a room.
Saint Masshole says, what is your opinion about Canadian wildfires narrative? Lightning or DEW? So I wrote an article probably like 2 years ago about I think it's eco-terrorism, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I
call that climate arson.
Yeah, climate arson, eco-terrorism, whatever you want to call it. I did when the wildfires, remember like 2 or 3 years ago when the wildfires were like blowing down and covered New York, the Canadian ones. There were lightning strikes around the area, but I looked at it and it looked like it was controlled. They all popped up at the same exact time. Like somebody was on a phone call and was like, okay, light it. And all the fires pop up and they all blow down. So I don't know. Direct energy weapon. I think like the Maui fires, that could have been a direct energy weapon. I think there's a lot of, yeah, I could go there. I don't think lightning. I mean,
yeah,
sure,
I think the Aspen Acres, so this is Colorado, not Canada, but the Aspen Acres fire here, which is the number one firefighting priority, or at least was last week, the number one firefighting priority in the nation, was, I believe, started by a campfire. So that was like accident. But we've had a lot of fires here, including like homeless people lighting fields on fire in city areas. There's a lot of what I refer to as climate arson because the demand for climate change related fires the supply isn't meeting the demand. And so they make them happen. Climate arson.
Yeah. And so to St. Masshole's point, I don't know are there Canadian wildfires going on right now?
No.
So I don't know if this is a
probably it's fire season.
Oh, okay. Well, Lee Walden, ahoy, Brienne and Ash. Ash, your husband and family must be very. This is Lee, man.
Brienne.
This is
Can
what
I call you Brienne from now on?
No, my name is Brian. He is talking about somebody named Brienne, Brien.
Brienne.
Brienne. No, Lee is my Coast Guard buddy, and I perpetually make fun of his talk to text, because that's what he does.
Nice.
And Lee, stand by that. Don't correct yourself. Don't correct me and say, no,
Well,
I typed out.
your name is Brienne now. Just
Brienne. And Ash, your husband and family must be very proud of you. If I had to say, you would have a place in the Garden of Heroes. You're a national treasure. Not you are, but you are a national treasure.
Thank you very much. As for my husband and family, it depends on the day. There's, fighting the government has consequences that impact the broader family. And but thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say. It's a overstatement, certainly, but it's very kind of you to say.
I have to remember, when Caleb and I were playing golf, he had said something to me, and he's like, yeah, my mom told me whatever. And I'm like, just whatever, don't listen to that. And I'm like, I had to think to myself, like, wait, that's his mom. Like, he has to listen to that. Like, I'm thinking more like, if you told Christy to do something, I'd be like, that's just Ash. Don't listen to that.
Yeah.
but it's, I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic that I have to remind myself every once in a while, like, wait, that's your mom. I'll have to kick your ass if you don't, or
I'll tell you what about that kid, though.
Tell Ash so that Ash can kick your ass. There you go.
That Caleb, I asked Caleb to do something, whether it's, go on a dozens of mile trip to do something for me, or take, your brother somewhere, or anything I ask him to do, I don't even have to worry about it. I don't even have to double think it, because that's just who that kid is. Not true of all of my children, but of that one, he is pretty remarkable. He's pretty special. I love him a lot.
Can vouch. Absolutely can vouch. Wait, hold on one second. I'm trying to do something. It's very deliberate. And it's not going to work.
Uh-oh. What's going on? Brian's having a stroke.
Hold on. I'm trying to tell people to smash the thumbs up because of the emojis. Look at
nice.
Look at that. How can you not smash the thumbs up with that face right there? Smash the thumbs up, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Ash, what do you got coming up?
What do I have coming up? Tomorrow we have season 4, episode 7 of The Chosen on the show The Choice, with Ghost and I winding down season 4. There's only one season left after this, so we have about 10 episodes left of The Chosen before we run out of content on that show. So everybody should be tuned into that. Then you and I will be doing the Bad Mood Hour tomorrow. We've got Creature from Jekyll Island, and it is the Bad Mood Hour because it is freaking maddening what has happened to us. And with the news about gold, I think that'll probably come up in our show tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, you, me, the president, and, something biblical is what Benny said is coming. So, that's the way to go. Tonight, we have Space Revolution with General Quast at 6. We have Shipwreck Show following that. We have Devolution Power Hour. I think is there Geopolitics with Ghost following this show?
No, I don't think so. But I do want to say.
And the Daily Herald is coming up in an hour.
Ghost was saying that tonight's Space Revolution is a must watch. So yeah. I mean, I know a little bit of the details, but I don't know much, and it sounds like it's going to be a fantastic show.
Yeah, so definitely tune into that. It's at 6 p.m. here on Badlands. Also, Jessica Storm just let us know POTUS is on at 3:15 Eastern time, which could be 4. It could be 6 p.m. You never know with those POTUS press conferences, but she will be streaming that here on Badlands as well. So just keep Badlands on while you're going about your day, because we've got great content lined up for the next several days. It's going to be a blast.
And just to really, really piss Ash off, because I didn't do that today, the authoritarian over here that wants you to get shot for obstruction.
Yeah, that's nice.
Make sure that you have hydrated elbows when you
and moisturized sole
shot. Yeah, make sure your soles are moisturized so you go to the right place after obstruction.
Sorry, one more thing. Make sure that you are signed up for soft disclosure email updates. There's a new special dropping tomorrow, but you only get it if you're signed up for the newsletter. That is where the best deals are. It's where the insider information is. It's our soft disclosure insiders club. So make sure that you sign up for newsletter updates to get the best deals and get all the latest information.
All right.
One hero, one mission to deliver softness to America.
No, Chi-Chi, we can't stop for snacks, dude. We have to deliver all of these soft disclosure gift cards. He goes by Zach Payne.
The motion detector.
Hey, stop fighting over the beer brush.
Life finds a way.
Hydrate your elbows, moisturize your soul. Feel the rhythm together. You feel alive and let the lotion roll. Soft disclosure, hear the cry. Maximum softness, do or die.
Muffin, hit it.